Okay, so good morning, guys. Once again, thank you very much for your presence, for your participation in this session. I'm a little, I'm sorry that I entered like 3 minutes later than expected, but I was having certain problems with my computer. It was taking too long to do pretty much everything. So hopefully it's not gonna, I mean, it's going to work um, properly during the rest of the session. So, guys, as I said, once again, thank you very much for your attendance. We didn't have any homework from yesterday, so that means that we're gonna start something like we're gonna start a new topic from scratch. Let's say today. That's part of the plan. So let me just share my screen. So, guys, if you've seen if you've checked the syllabus of the course, you will see that the topic for this week is something called like this, like space. And we'll see exactly what we mean by a space, because it's not space like the outer space, like out of the planet, let's say. That's not what we mean. So we'll see in a moment exactly what we mean by this. So this is week number 5 of this course. So that means that the exam is around the corner, and I believe we may have the exam next week, by the end of the next week. But I need to double check the dates, because I need to have to make a couple of questions to be sure that the exam would be by the end of the next week. So guys, let's see what we got. Um, One of the things that I would like you to think about is learning menus. It's been already like almost 2 weeks since we started using this tool, right? And we said that we would be using this tool basically as a self-assessment tool, and it's a tool in which you would assign a series of activities to yourselves. So you guys would do some extra activities, and of course, you know, like the basic activities that you do to improve your English. And by basic, I mean those things that we do every day and that are part of our responsibilities, like the course, like this course for instance. But also you would include some other additional activities that you guys plan to do as a way to improve your English. And of course that means that you would set your own standards and goals. So before we start, guys, I'd like to listen to you just to know how you guys have been doing with this. I'd like to know if you guys have used the tool, how it is going. I mean, just to know your impressions about this exercise that I suggested a couple of weeks ago. Does somebody else, does somebody want to say something? Perhaps about it? No? Okay, guys. So just as an icebreaker, then we're gonna make groups, and I'd like you to share your. Let me see. No, Felipe, I cannot listen to you. I don't know if there is a problem with the audio or something, but I can't listen to you. So this is what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna go to the breakout rooms then, and we're gonna take around 5 minutes. And remember, you should have your learning menus there. So what I'd like you to do is basically 2 things. First, what I was just asking here, just to tell the others how's been your experience with those activities that you planned, right? So it's basically tell the others like, look, this is what I propose, and this is how it's working. And then to talk about the activities that you plan to do for this week, which that should be, if I'm not wrong, the second week of that learning menu. Okay, so that's basically to share your progress with the rest. Okay, that's what I'd like you to do. By the way, as I just mentioned this word, and that's related to the topic that we're going to be talking about today. You'll see it. I like you to have a look at this. what do you think is the right pronunciation of this word? How did you say this, guys? Somebody?
Progress.
Progress. That's correct. But there is another pronunciation. And in that case, if we say this, is it a verb, a noun, an adjective? What is it? What part of a speech? Excuse me.
Noun,
Could be
maybe.
both, depending on the pronunciation. The stress pronunciation.
Yes, both of you are right. So yes, this is a noun. This is a noun. But depending on the stress of a pronunciation, the word might be different. So this is one possibility. Progress, right? Progress as a noun. But if we want to make it a verb, how did you pronounce it?
To progress.
Yes, exactly, Lena. Thank you very much. That's how we say it. So that's an example of what we were saying yesterday. We cannot see exactly you know, how the words are pronounced or the accents or anything. That's not something in the word. Like you say, I mean, it's written the same way. But when we know that it's a verb, the pronunciation changes because of the stress. So here, progress, and here, progress. You see? And that happens with a lot of different words. Happen the same thing with research, for instance, research and research. So research is a noun, like investigación, and to research is a verb, which is investigar. So that happens a lot, and we gotta be careful about that. So guys, we're gonna take around 5 minutes in the breakout rooms. And as I said, guys, I would simply like you to please share your impressions and your ideas and experience and everything doing using the learning menu. That's what I would like you to do, okay? And then we're gonna come back here to the main session. So let's do this. Okay, so yeah, this is how this week is called. So a couple of things we're gonna be doing during this week are these. Well, we're gonna be talking about predictions and decisions and the natural world and probability. Those are two founding topics for this week. But also will be, and that's something we're gonna be doing today. We're gonna be talking also about cities and you know, characteristics of cities and so on. And as I let's say, I would say that what we're gonna be doing today is something I really like doing, and it has to do with the fact that I love social sciences. So back in school, some of my favorite subjects were history and geography. Those were some of my favorite subjects. You guys are now familiar with this expression, right? This is something that you now know what it means. Remember, guys, what CLIL means?
No, teacher.
No. How come? Because you did an exercise with that.
It's like
Content,
content,
language,
language, something. I don't
Uh-huh,
know.
uh-huh.
integrated learning.
Thank you.
Oh yes.
Yes, 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 yes. This is content, language, integrated learning. Let me just put it here and then, okay. Content, language, integrated learning, right? That's what it means. And what is it? It sounds super cool, but what is it? Content, language, integrated learning. What is it? Would you guys remember?
Is when you have the capacity to integrate the the teaching or the learning some language with a content information, like with the concept of something like this.
Yes. So this is a kind of approach, let's say, which it's like a way of teaching, which is becoming more and more popular these days, especially in some private schools, but also in public schools. We are also already working on this. So basically, as you said, clearly has to do with this approach in which we are teaching content, which is like topics from any subject, but we are teaching English at the same time. So that's why I said we did an exercise with that. So when you guys did the storytelling exercise, you were teaching English, but also you were teaching a science concept, right? That was the objective of that activity. So that is what CLIO implies. It implies that we are teaching English, but we are also teaching a different topic. We are teaching something from a different subject. So today I wanted to sort of continue elaborating on a topic that we started yesterday. So we're gonna do some exercises on stress with different words, like classification exercise with that, but we're gonna base it on a lesson on geography. That's what I'd like you to do. Okay, guys, so I have an exercise for you, and I will see how this is gonna work, because I have no idea how this is gonna work, to be honest, as we are not in a regular classroom. So I'm gonna tell you in this moment what the exercise is, and then we're gonna try to make it work, because normally when we do it in a classroom, it works super good, but here it's gonna be a little bit funny. I mean, a little bit funny as in weird and crazy. So let's see if it works. So guys, for this exercise, you can use your notebooks, or you can use a Word file on your computers, or anything that you can use to write 3 details. So the first one is this. We have 3 different cities. So I would like you to choose one of the cities. The first one is Madrid in Spain, okay, not the one in Cundinamarca, just in case, because as you'll see, we're gonna be talking about cities of Europe during the session. So Madrid. Then we have London, and last but not least, we have Paris. So guys, you have 1 minute to choose one of them. You don't have to tell me, and actually this is gonna be a secret for you so far. You just have to choose one of these cities, and you can just write the name down on a piece of paper, or your notebook, or in a Word file, whatever, but you need to keep it in mind, okay? So that's step number 1, just to choose the city. Now, what you guys have to do is to choose one of these occupations, okay? You have to choose one of these 3 different jobs. The first one is a nurse, right? A nurse. The second one is a teaching assistant. So it's some sort of a monitor, if that's how you want to call it. So it's a teaching assistant, or a person who goes to university, has some teaching activities, but he or she is not an actual, is not the official teacher of a class. It's an assistant. And the last one, a hotel receptionist, okay? So you guys have to choose one of these 3. One of these 3, okay? And the last one, I would like you to imagine this. I would like you to imagine that you guys have the chance to visit any of these 3 cities that we see before, any of these 3, and you chose one, right? So you can choose any of these 3, and then you can choose one of these occupations to do in that city. So you can imagine, okay, I will be a nurse in Paris, I will be a nurse in London, I will be a teaching assistant in Madrid, for instance. Okay, so that's what you have to imagine. And last but not least, you have to imagine how much time you'd like to be there. So you might be there for 6 months. So you say, I will be a teaching assistant for 6 months in London, for example. Or I might be a nurse for 6 months in Madrid, you see? Second option is 1 year, instead of 6 months, 1 year. So you say, for example, I'll be a teaching assistant for 1 year in London, for for example. So that's the second one. And the last one is forever, okay? So I would like to be a nurse forever in Madrid, for example. You see, so it's like you have to choose one of them. So remember, you have to keep it as a secret. You have to choose the city, the occupation, and the time, okay? And just write it down somewhere. And you don't have to say why yet, you just have to write it down. Okay, guys? Do you guys have it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, this is a piece of cake, of course. So what we're gonna do now, guys, so how does this activity normally works? So normally, I would ask you to stand up from your seats and go around the classroom to talk to others, just to see the options that they like have selected. So we cannot do it here. So what we're gonna do now, guys, it's a little bit different. Like normally you would go around and find a person who has very similar options, but it's harder to do it here. So what we're gonna do is like, we're gonna go to the breakout rooms, but we're gonna make several breakout rooms. So instead of having, you know, normally as we have 5 or 6 groups, we're gonna have more groups, and I will rotate those groups. So I will make, I mean, you will be assigned to different groups. Okay, so you have to, every time you are in a group, you have to tell the others, look, I would like to be a nurse for 6 months in London. And then you have to explain the others why you chose that, okay? So we're gonna go to the breakout rooms, and we're gonna have different groups, as I said, just to try to find a person who has similar answers. Okay, and that's it. It's like we're gonna try to find a person who's got similar answers, and to do that, you have to tell the others why you selected those 3 options. Do you guys understand what we're gonna do?
Yes, teacher.
There you go. So we're gonna go to the breakout rooms, but as I said, instead of having a group of 4 or 5 people, we're gonna have small groups, and I will rotate the groups. So that means that, for instance, we're gonna go to the first breakout room. We're gonna be there just for 3 to 4 minutes maximum. Then I create other group, and you go to another group, and so on and so forth. So that means that you will go to at least 3 different groups. Okay, so we're gonna rotate like quickly, so you guys have the chance to talk to more people. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so remember, Madrid, London, Paris, nurse, teaching assistant, hotel receptionist, and 6 months, 1 year, and forever. Okay, those are the options we've got. So let me see. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna just as a little reminder for you, as I somehow noticed that most of you had issues with this verb, guys. This is an irregular verb, as you know, right? So as it is irregular, we know that the past form might be quite different, right, from the present form, essentially. So in this case, when we use this verb in present, we say simply choose, right? So I choose something. But when we talk in past and we use this verb in past, how do you say it, guys?
It's like shoes.
No. And actually,
Chose.
there you go. It's chose. And there is a little change, a little change there, right? So in that case, when we use, I'm sorry, when we use this verb in past, so this is the present form, and the past form would be like this, right? So I chose this city, chose with this ch sound, which is strong, right? And the participle, you know, which is chosen. So you have to be careful with that, okay? Because in some cases, you were like pronouncing this one as if it were some sort of a regular verb or something, and that's not the case. So choose, chosen, chosen. That's how it works. So guys, these 3 cities, I mean the 3 options that you have something in common, right? Which is quite obvious. And what is it?
The English language.
English language, seriously? I don't know.
Yes, I think so.
These three cities, you sure about that? What do these three cities have in common?
That is in Europa.
Europe. So the three cities are in Europe, right? The three cities are in Europe. So it's not a language, but it's the location of it. So the three cities are in Europe. That's what they got in common. And this is important because we're going to be talking today a little bit about that, about cities and countries in Europe. So this is what we're gonna do, guys. So we're gonna do a brainstorming exercise on countries in Europe. So today we're gonna be talking only about countries in Europe. That, as you will see, it's something we may find very interesting. So guys, we're gonna do this exercise, which is super simple, but you cannot use Google, of course. You cannot use Google. If you use Google, that would be like, you know, like you would absolutely spoil the exercise. You know what that is, guys? To spoil, like this.
Yes.
What is that?
It's like to tell a
When
story.
No. Somebody else?
it's not the same. I think that when spoil a movie that to share the answer before you
Uh-huh.
see it.
Yeah, we use it a lot with movies, like a spoiler, right? Or like to spoil the movie. But in general terms, in a wider sense, to spoil something is I don't know how to say it like in a different way in English. But well, basically, I will say it in Spanish. To spoil is like dañar o literalmente como lo utilizamos en Colombia, por ejemplo, aquí en Bogotá, como tirarse algo, ¿sí? Es como tirársele la película a alguien, o tirarse la historia, o tirarse la fiesta. You see, that would be that. To spoil would be como arruinar, okay? So what I was saying, guys, but also we use it like this. Spoiled. So if we say a spoiled kid, or spoiled child, it means that it's a child who doesn't know how to behave. Así como malcriado. And also we use it for food. So for instance, if you guys say the cake is spoiled, the cake is spoiled would be como la torta se dañó, si está como podrida. Okay, so it has so many different meanings. So as a verb, it's like arruinar, but as an adjective, depending on what it describes. If it's describing a person, it means that the person doesn't know how to behave. It's a let's say a childish person, a person who doesn't have manners, for instance. But if it refers to food, like spoiled food, it means that the food is no longer in good condition, let's say. So here, what I was saying, guys, that we're gonna do this brainstorming exercise, but you guys should not use Google because it would absolutely spoil the exercise. It would make no sense, okay? So guys, we're gonna create breakout rooms again. And what you guys have to do is to think about a list of European countries, okay? So it should be countries that you guys know. You cannot Google it. If you Google it, it makes no sense, okay? So you're just gonna try to make a list as long as you can. And then we're gonna come back to the main session and we are going to share this list with the rest. So we're gonna take around 3 minutes for this exercise and we'll see which group has a longer list, basically. But remember, you should not use Google. I insist, don't use Google, because if you do, that would make no sense, okay? So we're gonna have 6 different groups, guys. We're gonna go right now. And remember, your purpose here, your challenge, let's say, is to make a list of European countries, only European countries, not cities, but countries, okay? That's what you gotta do. We got 3 minutes for that. To see, to spot. So I would like you just to give me the number just to start, and then I will ask you about the countries that you selected. So a group number one, just a number. Ashley, Brian, Clara, Santiago, how many countries were you able to find?
We have 11.
11. Well, that's a quite decent number. Thank you. Number two, Andres Felipe, Tania, Tatiana, Spitia. How many countries did you guys find?
16.
16. Oh my God, getting better. Group number three, Ana Maria Buendia, Dylan Paez, Johannet Martinez. How many countries did you guys find?
12.
12. Good, good. That's quite decent as well. Number four, John Gonzalez, Juan Paramo, and Linda Lopez. How many countries did you guys find?
10.
Excuse me. How many?
Sorry, I have a problem with the microphone.
Yes. So what was the number? I couldn't listen. 10, I think?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Number five, Maria Alejandra, Stefania Portugues, and Tatiana Ovando.
13.
13. Cool. And last but not least, group number six, Jose Diaz and Lina Rodriguez.
Like 13.
Like 13 as well. Okay, so the numbers were quite similar, let's say. And that was the first part of the exercise. So as you can see, guys, and that's actually something I want to show you later. Europe is not a very big continent, actually. Europe is not a very big continent, but it has lots and lots of countries. The countries tend to be small. And actually, if we compare the size of Colombia with countries in Europe, it would be very surprising to see that Colombia is bigger than most of them, for example, and which is something we can check out. Okay, guys. So that was that was the initial list, and for sure, as you guys were doing the exercise, you perhaps had some doubts regarding the pronunciation of those countries, and that happens with those countries and with cities as well. So we're gonna go there. That's part of what we want to do. We want to go there. But talking about countries, I'd like to make a question to you guys, which is, talking about countries, there are some cases in which we quite often get confused with some of them. So my question is about these three options we've got here, guys. What's the difference between these three? The UK, Great Britain, and England. What's the difference? Do you guys know? I'm gonna put it completely here, so you guys
I know that United Kingdom is like there are three countries that is Wales, England, and
Ireland.
And
Not Ireland.
I don't remember the other, but yeah, it's like the union of those countries.
That's true. So the United Kingdom is it's a group of countries actually. Okay, but let's go and see the map. Let's see. I don't know. I think it's better to find a Europe map because in Google Maps we don't see the division that clearly. So let me see if we get a decent map here. I think this one looks good. Well, this is a decent size. No. I'm so sorry. I'm just looking for a map which is very big, which looks a little bit bigger. I don't know. Let's see if if this one works somehow better. Oh my God, seriously. So sorry, guys. I'm just looking for a map that looks somehow decent. Wow, these maps are super small. Oh my God, seriously. That's why you have to prepare the maps in advance. You see, otherwise this sort of thing happens. So let's try to look for a big map. Oh no, I think you cannot see very well. So I'm gonna try to, I will use Google Maps then. And I will show you exactly. So let's leave Colombia. And okay guys, so we are here. So they call it like El Reino Unido, the United Kingdom. So basically, in the United Kingdom, we have England, which is here, right? This is England, right? You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, so the United Kingdom is England here. Then Wales, which is in this part, Wales. So we have England and Wales. That's why I didn't want to use maps because it doesn't show the divisions. And I don't know if there is an option for that. Satellite map, perhaps? Nah, not really. Oh my God, seriously. Anyways, so we got England here. Then we have Wales. We have Scotland in the north. And we also have Northern Ireland, okay? Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales. Those countries together are the United Kingdom, okay? So this is what we call the British Isles, como las Islas Británicas. These two big isles are called the British Isles, okay? But the United Kingdom is Wales here, England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. And this other island, this is the Republic of Ireland, you see? The Republic of Ireland, which is a different country, okay? And this country is not part of the United Kingdom. So that's a United Kingdom. Those four, remember, four countries: England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. That's the United Kingdom. But what about Great Britain, guys? What is Great Britain? What do you think? What would be the difference then? No idea? And don't Google it, remember. No idea what could be that, guys.
No, teacher.
So the Great Britain is just this big island, okay? The Great Britain then would be England, Wales, and Scotland. So that would leave Ireland aside. You see, so the Great Britain refers to this big island here. Okay, so that is the Great Britain. England, Wales, and Scotland. So we just take Northern Ireland out of the group, let's say. So the United Kingdom is the four countries, and the Great Britain is just the three countries which are in this big island, okay? That's it. And of course, the last one, England, that's very easy because England is just this country here in the south of Great Britain, let's say. That's England, okay? So that's just for you to keep in mind. And then we have, as I said, the Republic of Ireland, which is this one, which is apart from this group of countries, and so on. Yes, so that was essentially what I wanted to share with you guys. So that's how it goes. So guys, this is what we're gonna do in this moment. So guys, I will share with you, let me see if I've got it here. let me see if I can share it here in the chat box. This is the link. Yeah, this is the link to the worksheet that we are using today. So I just shared here on the chat box, and I also will share it on the group. Thank you very much, Johanna. Johanna found a map. Thank you very much. You say she did a very good job finding a map. So there you can see what I was telling you. That's on the WhatsApp group. So we have the Wales, England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, which is the United Kingdom, right? There you go. Thank you very much, Johanna. So I just shared the link on the WhatsApp group so you guys can enter there. So so yeah, please download that worksheet. So there is somebody who's trying to enter, but this person hasn't been able to enter. Anyways, so sorry about that. Okay, guys, have you got the worksheet, all of you?
Yes, it's showing.
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, excellent. So let me just double check something. So I also have it. Let me see. So guys, this is what we're gonna do now. And for that exercise, you can use Google Maps. That would be my suggestion, to use Google Maps, or you can use any other kind of map. So let me just show it to you. I'm going to share my screen so we can see what we are talking about. So we're gonna do the first exercise, which is this, right? So we get a list of countries here, but I will assign the list of countries in a moment, okay? So we're gonna make 4 groups, and each one of the groups is gonna have a different list of countries. So as you can see here, we've got 28 different countries in Europe, although we are missing some actually. But anyways, like these are the main 28. So each one of the groups is going to be assigned a different list of countries, around 7 countries each, and you guys will, you know, locate those countries here in the map. How can you do that? Well, there are different options. As I've shared with you, there are some PDF editors that you can use. You can also do it on Paint, for instance, or with any PDF editor. You can do that. Okay, so but you can do it, for instance, on Paint very easily. You could, for example, take a screenshot of it, right, and take it to Paint and like just write the numbers, because that's what you gotta do. For instance, let's say I'm in group number 1, so I've got these 7 countries assigned. So what you have to do is to look for those countries on a map and then just locate them here with a number. Okay, so for instance, Austria. So Austria, let's say, is this one, which we know it isn't, right? Because, I mean, let's do it with that, with the United Kingdom. So the United Kingdom is a 28. So you would write down a 28 here, 28, and that's it. Okay, that's all you gotta do. So I'm gonna make groups again, guys, so you can do this exercise. It's just 4 groups. So that's what you guys have to do. So I'm gonna tell you in this moment what's the order of the groups. So you guys know exactly what's what list of countries you guys have to work on. So the group number 1, guys, is going to be Andrés Felipe Bueno, Brian Aguilera, Clara Monroy, Linda Lopez, and Tatiana Espitia. You guys are group number 1, okay? Anyways, when you enter the breakout room, you will see it says breakout room 1, breakout room 2, so you guys know what your group is. Group number 2 is Ashley Huesa, Jose Diaz, Lina Rodriguez, Estefanía Portugués, and Tatiana Gomez. Group number 3 is Ana María Buendía, Dylan Paez, Johanna Martinez, María Alejandra, and Tatiana Banda. And group number 4 is John Gonzalez, Juan Páramo, Santiago Hernández, and Yalitza Garcia. Those are the groups, okay? So depending on these groups, you guys will have assigned a different list of countries, okay? Depending on the number of the groups. So let's go to the breakout room. So you guys are gonna take around 5 minutes to locate the assigned countries on the map. Have you got any questions, guys? No questions. Okay, excellent. So let's do this.
No.
Sorry, teacher. It's just that I don't know why I can go to the group, teacher.
I'm sorry. You're assigned to the group number 4. So, hello? Again. Okay, guys, so before we go over the answers that you guys had there and what we talk about the maps a little bit more, there are a couple of things that I wanted to draw your attention upon. So the first one is this. What's the difference between these two terms, guys, when we are referring to these kinds of places? Island, well, first, actually the first question for you was about the pronunciation of these two words. So who would like to give it a try? How do you say this one, guys?
Teacher, can you share the screen, please?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yes, that helps a lot in these cases. Yes, guys, so I'm so sorry. I got these two words here. So the first question was, what's the pronunciation of it? How do you say these two words, guys? Like this one first, for instance.
Island.
Iceland?
Iceland.
Iceland.
And this one.
Ice? No.
Okay, so with the first one, you guys said Iceland. You have to be careful because if you say Iceland, you're actually saying this. And that word actually exists. Actually, this word exists, and that's a country in Europe, actually. You know, like that we know in Spanish as Islandia, right? So that's a country, Iceland. So no, Iceland would be this. So that's not the right pronunciation. In the case of this one, we don't pronounce the S, okay? So it's not Iceland, but island, island, you see? So let's have a look at the dictionary just to see exactly how you say it, just for you guys to see that I'm not making this up. So can you see the transcription here? There is no S whatsoever.
Island.
Can you hear?
Island.
Yes.
There you
Yes.
go, or the American one, which is basically the same.
Island.
You see, it's the same thing. So we don't see any S sound, as you can see. And we have the accent mark, remember, at the beginning. So it's just island. It's not Iceland. And then we have this other one, right? Same thing happens, as you can see.
Isle.
Isle, you see? Isle. So that's a very crazy pronunciation because it's like, it looks like this, the word, but it doesn't sound like that, because if I see it, I would say isle, or something, but no, it's simply isle. Now, what's the difference between these two words, guys? Because what's the meaning of island in Spanish?
Isla.
Yes, and what is the meaning of this in Spanish?
Isla.
Yeah.
Both are like the same, but maybe island is like bigger and isle is a little bit small.
Well, that's a very interesting hypothesis. Yeah, because it could be like that. And actually, I thought that a couple of, I don't know, years ago, I think. But no, actually, they refer to the same thing. The thing is that the origin of these words might be a little bit different. So the origin might be somehow different, and the actual difference these days is that isle is a more archaic term. You know this word. I'm gonna put it here. It's a more archaic term. So which means that this word is somehow like more old-fashioned, let's say. So this kind of word is more used like in poetry, for instance, you see? So it sounds, this one would sound way more formal and more old-fashioned, let's say. So normally these days, whenever you want to talk about una isla in general, it's better to use this term, island, because this is a more, let's say, common term. But the thing is that in some cases with names, we may find this one, you see? So for instance, we don't say the British Islands, we don't say that. The British Islands, we don't say that. We say the British Isles, you see? The British Isles to refer to the Great Britain and Ireland, you see? The British Isles. We don't say the British Islands, you see? But that's, I don't know, just because. But for instance, Malta in Europe, it's an island also. And we don't say, for instance, the Isle of Malta. No, we say the island of Malta, you see? So it's like we use both, but when we want to refer to islas in general, we can use just island. So this one is the most common, but you have to be careful because in some cases with some specific names, they use isle. You see, that's the point. So you use island all the time, but be careful because in some cases of names, they can use isle. You see, like as in the example of the British Isles, we don't say the British Islands. We can say that and people would absolutely understand, but in that case it's isle. Okay, so difference number one is that isle is more archaic, it's like more old-fashioned. And number two, that isle is used in some specific cases, so we have to be careful. You see, in some specific cases, it's used. Also, guys, talking about countries, another thing that we need to note is the use of the article the, like this. So, for instance, is it correct to say the Colombia? Is it correct to say that, guys?
No.
No.
Well, it's not incorrect, but it sounds like redundant.
Maybe it's
Well,
possible to say the Republic of Colombia, but the
yeah,
Colombia, no.
yes, absolutely true, Lina. In that case, we can say that the Republic of Colombia, well, it makes sense, but we don't say the Colombia. In French, it happens that they use articles all the time, right? So I know that they say, for instance, la Colombie, for instance, to refer to Colombia, and they use articles all the time. So in English, we hardly ever use articles, but in some cases, we use articles. So for instance, I say, I go to Colombia, but I don't say, I go to United Kingdom. No, I have to say, I go to the United Kingdom. So for instance, in this case, they use it, the UK, you see. So in some cases, they do use it. So for instance, the United Kingdom or the Czech Republic, La República Checa, the Czech Republic. So in some countries, they use the, so you have to be careful, you see, because in some cases they do, and some cases they don't. But the most common way is without the. This is the most common way, just without article. But in some cases they find it. Okay, guys? So that's how it works. So guys, what I would like you to do now is this. I would like you to do this as part of your homework. I mean, you have 2 pieces of homework for tomorrow. So first, guys, I don't know, let me just double check it. Yeah. This is in the, here on your worksheet. We just did the exercise number 1. So we're gonna do the exercise number 2 tomorrow in class, okay? So don't do the exercise number 2, don't do that. But what I would like you guys to do, this is something you can do on your notebooks. You are going to use this chart. This chart is a chart for the classification of stress patterns, you see? So for instance, in this chart, guys, as you can see here, if we see this, in the first column, it means that the stress goes at the beginning. At the beginning. So for instance, let me think about a word. For instance, but I don't know if it's here. I know, I don't want to say it because if I say it, I will spoil the exercise. So I will use a different word. So it's the name of a building here in Bogota, Agora. Agora, you see, so Agora would be here because the accent, I know, actually would be here because it's 3 syllables and the stress is at the beginning, Agora, you see? So what you guys are going to do is that you guys are going to take the 7 countries that you located on the map and you're going to classify the pronunciation of those countries according to these patterns that we've had here, okay? So for instance, I don't know, Finland, actually Finland, it's a good example of the first one because it's just 2 syllables, Finland, and the stress is at the beginning, you see? So Finland would be on the first column, okay? So you guys are going to classify only the countries that you were assigned, and if you want to classify more, well, that's okay. So that's the first exercise that you will do as homework for tomorrow, just to classify these countries according to these stress patterns, okay? That's something you can do on your notebooks, just to practice a little bit, because tomorrow we're gonna do this. We're gonna classify all of them, but please don't do it at home because I've prepared some beautiful Jamboards, as you can see here, for tomorrow. So tomorrow we're gonna work on the Jamboards, classifying those cities, okay? So exercise number 1 is that. Exercise number, the second part of the homework, guys, is a simple question. I need you to research this. I need you to come up with the answer for this, guys. The question is, what's the Mercator projection? This is a question for you. So I would like you just to look for this. I need you to tell me tomorrow what this is, okay? I need you to tell me tomorrow what this is. That's it. So tomorrow you guys will say, this is the Mercator or Mercator, I don't know, Mercator projection. This is what it is. So this is a concept this is a geography concept, basically. So I need you to tell me tomorrow what this is. And tomorrow I'm going to show you something that would illustrate this concept, okay? So the first part of the homework is simply to classify the countries from the exercise number 1, which is the exercise that you just finished. You're gonna classify these countries' pronunciation according to this accent, I'm sorry, stress pattern. This is stress pattern, Okay, that's it. And the second part is to answer this question. Is it clear, guys, what we gotta do for tomorrow?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
It is a piece of cake, right? It's super easy. So that's what you guys have to do for tomorrow. And we've got some really cool, interesting exercises and revelations for tomorrow. So you just have to stay tuned. And that's it. I'd like to know if you guys have any question, doubt whatsoever. No?
Yes, teacher, I have some questions about the topics of today.
Yes, please.
One
Mhm.
is, what is the correct pronunciation of the aisle, but in plural? Is with S or with ES?
Thank you. Yes, that's what we call, as it's the case of verbs, these are regular nouns. So the regular nouns are the nouns that we pluralize using S. So yes, it would be isles and islands. You just add the S at the end. So isles and islands. It is as simple as that, okay?
So the pronunciation is with the S only.
That's
Yeah?
it. It's as simple as that. So in this case,
Okay.
it would be like this. Look, island, islands, isle, isles. It is as simple as that. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
Mhm.
And the other questions is, for example, when we are going to ask about the time, we have, no, what is the correct say for to say that? Is how much time or how long time?
Like for the time that you will be in a place, for instance, in the first exercise we did, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, that would be how long. So how long will you stay, for example? I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna just delete this. How long will you stay, for example? That's something you could have said in the first exercise. How long will you stay? Sí, como cuánto tiempo te vas a quedar? Or how long, or if it's something that, if let's say this person is already there and you want to know the amount of time that this person has been in this place, you could say, how long have, I'm sorry, have you been? Have you been there, for example? How long have you been there, right? Como cuánto tiempo has estado viviendo allá? Let's say you have a friend who's living in the UK and you want to know how long this person has been there. So you say, how long have you been there? And he will, like in the first question, if you want to answer, you would say, I will be there for 6 months. I will be there for 6 months, right? Very easy. And the second one, how long have you been there? Well, I have been there for 4 months, for 6 months, you say? So that's how it works. Okay, Lina?
Yes, teacher. And for example, when we are asked about the time that you spend in something, you have to use how much? Yes, or
How much time have you used? Well, I mean, yes, you can say that. It makes sense. Like, let's say, like you've been working on a homework for 5 hours, and I want to know how much time. How much has it taken? I would say, how long have you been doing? And I would say, how long? I mean, if you say how much time, you can I mean, it's okay. Grammatically, it's correct. If I say how much time, for instance, actually in these questions, I could say, how much time will you stay there? It's okay. I mean, grammatically, it's correct. If you, instead of saying how long, if you say, how much time will you stay there? It's okay. But it sounds a little bit, it's not very common to say that, you say? It's like in Spanish. In Spanish, if you say, for instance, ¿cuánto te vas a quedar? If you say, ¿cuánto te vas a quedar? It's like we understand. Or if you say, ¿cuánto tiempo te vas a quedar? Both options are clear, you say? But it's how long it's better for time in general. So let's say if I want to know how much time you have spent doing a homework, I would say how long. How long have you been working on the homework, for instance? How long have you been working? That's what I would use in real life, you see? But you can use also how much. I mean, both options are correct, but how long is more natural, let's say. Do you understand?
yes, teacher. Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you say, how much time will you be there? Or how much time have you been here? It's correct, but how long? It's more natural, let's say. Okay, Lina, thank you very much for those questions. So remember, guys, for tomorrow, you have to answer this question. You have to research this. You don't have to make like a super long text. It's just like the definition. That's it. Because this definition is going to help us understand something that I'm going to share tomorrow. And the second thing you guys have to do is to classify the countries that you were assigned for the previous exercise. You have to classify the stress of these countries according to these stress patterns. So if the syllable that goes to the beginning has a stress, a syllable at the end, a syllable in the middle, that's what you guys have to do. You have to try to classify those countries according to these stress patterns. Okay, guys, that's essentially what we are doing. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and now I'm gonna call the attendance. So we are good to go and you guys can continue doing all this magnificent work that you do during the day, because I'm assuming that you do really cool stuff during the day. It's not like you guys finish the session and then you go to sleep. Of course not. You guys have thousands of things to do. Brian Aguilera.
Present, teacher.
Okay. John Jairo Barrera. John Jairo Barrera. Not here. Oh, no, he's not here, like never. Ana Maria Buendia.
Present, teacher.
Okay. I've got Jose said something in the chat box. He says that "il" and "ill" sound similar. Well, it sounds a little bit similar, but the vowel sound is different. "Ill" as in sick, right? So "il," it's the vowel sound at the beginning. "Il," it's an I, you see? But in the case of enfermo, it's "ill." So it's not I, but I. So "ill." It's a little bit different. But
I have a question.
Yes, Andres Felipe.
What about the pronunciation of I will in contraction, I'll?
Oh, that's a good one. Yes, because I would say I'll work. Yeah, in that case, you know what? It happens as it happens with the stress. It is all about the context. So yes, that sounds the same. I'll, as in I will, it sounds the same. But because of the context, we know what it means. If I say I'll work. In that case, we know that it's I will. Otherwise, it makes no sense. So because of context, we know, you say? But yeah, the pronunciation would be the same, of course, in that case.
Okay,
thank you. Andres Felipe, so he's here. Angie Carvajal. Angie Carvajal's not in the house. Woman, where are you? Okay, so I think she's not here. Jose Diaz, he's here. Really good questions. Thank you for that. Tatiana Espitia. Tatiana,
Present, teacher.
she's here. Joritza Garcia.
Here, teacher.
Sebastián González. John Sebastián González.
Here, teacher.
Tania Gomez, I think she's not here.
Here, teacher.
Oh, she's here. Oh my God, I was super
Yes,
ignoring
I'm
you.
here.
I'm so sorry for that. You see, that's why you shouldn't remain so quiet, because otherwise I will totally ignore you. I'm so sorry for that. Santiago Hernandez.
Hello, teacher.
Here we go. Ashley Wesa.
Here, teacher.
Marcel Hernandez, no. Linda Lopez. Yeah, she's here. Johannet Martinez.
Present.
Clara Monroy.
Present, teacher.
Tatiana Obando.
Present, teacher.
Ana Maria Ortiz. Not here. Dylan Paez.
Present, teacher.
Juan Páramo.
Present, teacher.
Estefanía Portugués.
Present, teacher.
Lina Rodríguez. Well, she was here.
Yes,
anyways.
teacher. Yes, teacher.
Daniela Rodríguez. Daniela. Oh my God, Daniela. So, María Alejandra Triana. Gloria Velandia.
Present.
Thank you. Gloria Velandia.
Me, teacher.
Great. Okay, guys, so do not forget for tomorrow, don't continue working on the worksheet. We'll continue with this worksheet tomorrow. So for tomorrow, you just have to do the two things. First, to classify the countries that you located on the map using the stress patterns for exercise number 2. And the other part of the homework for tomorrow is to investigate, to find out what's the Mercator projection, what that is, the Mercator projection. You guys will sort it out for tomorrow. And that concept is going to help us understand maps a little bit better. So that's the homework for tomorrow. So guys, once again, as usual, thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you very much for your participation, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, teacher. Have a nice day.
Bye, teacher.
Goodbye for everyone.